Guy's completely justified in his review though. I ain't gonna say nothing. All right, let's move on.
Hi everyone, my name is Cait. I am a part-time English literature student at the University of Oxford and a full-time employee at Google. Some of these choices might be a bit controversial, and these are just my opinions, but just to throw in a little bit of drama, I'm also going to be reading some of the Goodreads reviews of these books, just to give you guys a little bit of an insight that's not just my own, but from other people.
So let's go. The Fountainhead. There was actually a review on here that I laughed at. 1 star review. This book is the equivalent of a drunk, eloquent asshole talking to you all night at a bar. You know you should just leave and you can never explain later why you didn't, but you just sit there listening to the guy ramble on. It's all bullshit, and his arguments defending say his low-key but all-consuming misogyny aren't that good and don't even really make sense, but just for a second you find yourself thinking, the man might have a point. Before you catch yourself and realize that no, he's just an asshole. You feel dirty and bad afterwards, realizing how close you came to the abyss, but there was that 1 second where for some reason his selfish, arrogant stances, which have hardened into granite truth for him, bluntly force you to a momentary empathy with his ideas. Ironically, the one thing he will never, no matter how many shots of Jameson you buy him, give you. He then goes on to talk about the real problematic scene, which I concede to that. I do concede to that review. This is the thing about this book, right? As I say, you either love it or you hate it. This man hated it, and he's right to hate it. Does it sound like an eloquent asshole? Yeah, it kind of does. It kind of does. See if I can read a bit. Howard Rourke laughed. He stood naked at the edge of a cliff. The lake lay far below him. A frozen explosion of granite burst in a flight to the sky over motionless water. The water seemed immovable, the stone flowing. The stone had the stillness of one brief moment in a battle when thrust meets thrust and the currents are held in a pause more dynamic than motion. The stone glowed, wet with sun rays. Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. Does sound like a eloquent asshole. But at the same time, I mean, the stone glowed, wet with sun rays. The lake below was only a thin steel ring that cut the rocks in half. The rocks went on into the depth unchanged. They began and ended in the sky. Come on, people. Read it, form your own opinion, if you want to. Giovanni's Room. James Baldwin. Pretty good ratings on this one, I have to say. 4 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. Do I think they're gonna be 1 star? Are there 1 stars? Even the 3-star ones kind of say that James Baldwin is a brilliant writer and his prose is stellar. I like that. His prose is stellar. In a heart-wrenching fashion, he nailed the hell and pure angst facing any of us who found ourselves gay in the 1950s or 1960s or 1970s or even later. The subject was portrayed in such a masterful way. My problem with the story is twofold. First is the fact that it took nearly half the book before I could engage. Fair. Secondly, I did not really connect with any of the characters. let me just clear up something here. If you're reading a book and you're not connecting with a character, the book can still be good and you could still not connect to a singular character in the book. I can guarantee you that I don't connect to any character in any of these books. None of them is a book obsessive woman who has nothing better to do than rant and rave about books her entire life. But I can still appreciate the brilliance of the writing in this book. And I'll just read maybe I'll do this for all of them. I'm just going to read the first bit. I stand at the window of this great house in the south of France as night falls, the night which is leading me to the most terrible morning of my life. I have a drink in my hand, there's a bottle at my elbow. I watch my reflection in the darkening gleam of the window pane. My reflection is tall, perhaps rather like an arrow. My blonde hair gleams. My face is like a face you have seen many times. My ancestors conquered a continent, pushing across death-laden plains until they came to an ocean which faced away from Europe into a darker past. I may be drunk by morning, but that will not do any good. I shall take the train to Paris anyway. The train will be the same, the people struggling for comfort and even dignity on the straight-backed wooden third-class seats will all be the same, and I will be the same. We will ride through the same changing countryside northward, leaving behind the olive trees and the sea and all of the glory of the stormy southern sky, into the mist and the rain of Paris. Yeah. I could just continue reading. I really could. Generally high reviews for Giovanni's Room, so I think that's definitely something to pop onto your TBR list. Let's go to Stoner. Five. I want to see all the reviews. Five. 3. 1. Here we go. Oh, okay. This guy wasn't impressed. Love it. I love reviews on Goodreads. I was going to start out this review of Stoner by feigning common incredulity that the former conductor of the Boston Pops wrote a novel about potheads. But that is far, far too obvious and unsatisfying even for the likes of me. Instead, I am going to confess that I only read half of it, and thereby my ignorance has been properly disclaimed. But this aborted read filled me with such unmitigated contempt for the author that I plan on mounting every soapbox, if soapboxes haven't become technologically obliviated by now, from here to the Great Barrier Reef, condemning this plodding, tiresome, amateurish book with an antagonist passion that literature hasn't invoked in me since Cambridge's A Concise History of France, wherein concision meant exercising significant historical events in favor of agricultural data in a dimly Marxist perspective. I shouldn't blame John Williams for my rising blood pressure, because in fact you are to blame. Yes, you, perhaps not individually, but the general sense of Goodreads voters and reviewers, of which you are presumably a constituent. As of this moment, Stoner has an average of 4.39 stars out of 5. This is a remarkable score, to be sure, but as with many averages, it is complete and utter bullshit. Obviously contaminated by the spurious opinions of the ardent fans of Grace's tedious prose. You know who you are. Wow. It goes on. I have to give this reviewer kudos, because his writing's pretty good. Yes, it's tedious. It is not a plot-driven book. Not by any means. No one said it was going to be. But if you can't appreciate the writing that goes into this book, you know what, you're entitled. You are entitled to your opinion. I just think that this book speaks to academia in such a profound way. And I really recommend people read it. Yeah. Right. Whew. I'm getting all worked up here. This is why I should not do Goodreads reviews. Or let me know if you want me to do reviews. I'm maybe not as eloquent as the rest of these people. It's easier for me to talk a big game than it is for me to write a big game. But let's see. Ulysses. Ooh, only averaging 4 stars. You know what, I'm not surprised because I have a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people are on the do not finish book. 5 stars and then 2 straight away. 5 stars because it's a work of genius, so everyone says. 4 stars because there's so many deep literary and classical references that to say one understood the book is like saying one is very well educated. 3 stars because the words strung together in a stream of consciousness. Ooh, what a word. Mellifluous. Ooh. Onomatopoeic way read just beautifully. 2 stars because it was boring as hell. Couldn't care less about the characters. I just wanted them to get on with whatever they were doing and have Joyce interfere in their lives with his references, his poetry. And 1 star because I had to give it up. It got wet when I dropped it in the bath and the pages stuck together. Fab. I love it. Yes. I completely agree. It's not plot driven. It happens in the course of a day. It's boring, the plot. Nothing exciting happens. It is steeped in intertextual references to other literary works. Shakespeare, the Odyssey, 1,000 others. Half of it is in Latin. That's why I say, if you are going to read it, if you are going to attempt it, you double up. Yes, I know this means that you're reading so much more than you wanted to. Another good way to do it is to listen to it, to listen to Ulysses while you read it. Because what is confusing about this book is who is talking. Is it the characters? Is it this bizarre narrator? Is it some other random like little pecking voice that comes into the mind of the book? There is a free podcast, I'll link it down below. I found it incredibly helpful while I was studying it. Maybe that's something you look into. If not, it's a great way to put you to sleep. And then you can say you've read Ulysses and you can be one of those pompous assholes that knows all about literature. Tomb of Sand. It's only got 380 reviews on Goodreads. Why has no one read this book? It's absolutely incredible. It's got an average of 4.5 stars on Goodreads. It's amazing. 5.52. Oh, okay. This 2-star review. Oh, well, it went exactly as I had expected. A long time back, I learned the Booker winners weren't my cup of tea. The only exception to all my Booker disappointments has been The God of Small Things. Amazing book, by the way. As a result, when the Booker Prize is announced, most readers run in the direction of the book, but I gallop in the opposite. So why did I pick up this book? 1, this book is the first ever Hindi-English translation to win the International Booker, ergo my duty to my country. Oh, that's interesting. The book is the Hindi BOTM in the Facebook group. I moderate. Oh, interesting. Ergo my duty to my Facebook group. Oh, book of the month. Well, Sigh, I wish I weren't so dutiful. If you like beautiful writing, poetic phrases, lyrical cadences, and or onomatopoeic pyrrhic rhythms in language, this book is going to be a treat. Yes, it is. It is a treat for that exact reason. What's wrong with that? Why? Okay. I like the above, but I also want my book to have a semblance of a plot. Okay. This book has one, but it is visible in bits and pieces. What you find instead of a plot is a meandering ramble, tons of it, and then some more. The chapters jump from topic to topic like nobody's business. And there's no dominant voice. Oh my gosh. Okay, I disagree with this. I disagree with this review entirely. The language is what makes this book brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. As for a plot, yes, it does jump around. Most books do these days, but there's no singular narrative voice on purpose. And I think that's brilliant. I think the fact that you've got this omniscient narrator, but you're not sure where it's coming from. Is it coming from Mars? Is it coming from the daughters? Is it coming from the crows? If you know, you know. But that is the beauty of this book. The universal voice is so brilliant. Okay, I disagree. Move on before anger comes out. Okay, Dune by Frank Herbert. 4.26. 5.52. What is it with 2? Let me first start by apologizing to everyone who loves this classic. I don't doubt Dune was something special when it first came out in the 1960s, but reading it for the first time today, it feels horribly outdated to me, and at times almost incomprehensible. Why? I was warned going into the story that the beginning is extremely hard to understand, but that is an understatement. I could barely follow the scene after scene of dialogue referencing people, places, events, with all the expressions. No, it's amazing. Yes, it is confusing. It's a world that's being built. Fantasy readers, you guys know what that is like when you jump into a book and there's words and phrases and new systems of worlds being created before your eyes, and you're just kind of like, what the hell is going on? Anyone has read The Priory of the Orange Tree? Similar vibe. That's what I get from this. Yeah. No, I think it's great. That's all that matters. That is all that matters. Move on. I'm not even going to engage. It's a classic for a reason, okay? I'm getting too worked up. Hmm. 3.9. Are you serious? Why? First review. 1 star. For what? I just started Wolf Hall and find the relentless use of he to be extremely irritating. The first several chapters, there are a dozen instances where it is not clear who is speaking. Every once in a while, as if recognizing the problem she created, Mantel uses the phrase he Cromwell. Why not just say Cromwell unless there's some good reason why I can't imagine? Okay, yes. Mantel's use of narration is confusing initially as you're getting into this book. She uses he when she talks about Cromwell, and it's unusual. It is confusing, but you get into it. I promise you. Pursue. It is worth the perseverance. Mantel kind of uses this first person / free and indirect type of narration that I don't think has been used very often in literature. But the golden key thing for me with this book is its use of her clever way of bringing in details of the historical context so naturally, so normally. You just absorb the knowledge that is going on in this book. And Cromwell's there. He's the centerpiece. You're figuring out what's going on. But it's another side. It's another side to history, and that's what I loved about this book. So, yes, I agree. Do I think it makes it 1 star? No. And that is the end of that. .8 stars. Are you serious? Okay, here's a 2-star rating. The thing I enjoy most about Ishiguro's writing is the sheer level of depth he gets into his characters. He captures all the intensity of real emotions, whether they are self-serving or destructive. His writing style is simple, plain, and even, but he builds up many layers within his storytelling to unleash the full symphony of conflicted feelings in powerful bursts. However, I saw none of his brilliance here. Indeed, for all his talents, I do not think this novel was as effective as The Remains of the Day, or even When We Were Orphans. For me, this is a lesser novel by a greater writer. You know what? Fair play to this reviewer. Fair play, because I think Ishiguro achieves that sense of building up the characters, building up their conflicts until it is released. But I haven't yet read Remains of the Day, and I haven't yet read When We Were Orphans. So this reviewer might be 120% right. I just don't know that yet. Maybe we have to put those on the list. Okay, we are gonna end soon, I promise. Soon, 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 soon. Nervous Conditions. 6 reviews! Guys, come on. Let's get this book some more on Goodreads. Can we do that? Please? 4.16. I mean, there. Mostly just reviews, mostly just ratings, no actual discussion on it. Like this review, even though it is a 5-star review, I think I'll read it anyway. I identified so closely with Tambu in her quest for education and in turn a better life. Loved it and would highly recommend to anyone who has ever dreamed of moving up in the world. Also recommend it to those of us who may have taken their education for granted. Yeah. Yep. 100%. 100%. The great thing about this book is that it makes you question what you are being taught. It makes you question the foundations on which your education system has been laid. And yeah, I completely agree. Let's get this book some more reads, shall we? Please pop down a comment if you are going to read this book. Let me know. Maybe we can do a discussion on it. Okay, everyone, that was incredible. I absolutely loved going through all of these books, reading the reviews. I'm so happy. This has been a fantastic time. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video as much as I have enjoyed making it. Please give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe to my channel. You want more videos like this of books, of academia, all that kind of stuff. I would really appreciate it. Yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, wonderful rest of your week. Keep a lookout. I'll have a sneaky little video coming out maybe Wednesday or Thursday with some really big news from my side. And huge support from you guys that has made this possible. So keep a lookout. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.